Good morning, everyone. All right, that was pretty good. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome to the very first Autonomous Vehicle Pre-Notice Workshop. I'm Bernard Soriano. I'm the executive co-sponsor for this project. And
good morning, I'm Stephanie Doherty. I'm also fortunate enough to be part of this project.
And we wanted to thank you and we wanted to welcome you here. And thanks for showing up and providing input on this exciting and very important project that we're embarking upon. At this time, I will be turning it over to Brian Soublé, our Assistant Chief Counsel at the DMV, and he will be your facilitator for the day. And we've got a full agenda, and he'll be walking you through it. So with that, Brian?
Thank you, Bernard. Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get started. Outside of the auditorium, we have a sign-in table. If you have not already done so, please make sure that you sign in and provide contact information. The sign-in list serves two purposes for us. It puts you on our contact list for future notifications as we get through our regulatory process. And it's also, we're going to give the list to our reporter who's transcribing everything today so that he can have a record of who's here as well. As I mentioned, the proceedings this morning are being transcribed. So when you come up to speak, we can only have like one person speaking at a time. When you introduce yourself, please state your name clearly. The transcript that we get after this proceeding will become part of the record for our workshop. We are guests here in the DGS auditorium, and they've asked us to enforce the no eating or drinking rule here in the building, so you're not seeing my bottle of water up here. The restrooms are across the lobby. You're located to the left of the main auditorium entrance. To ensure an orderly workshop, we've prepared an agenda which is available at the sign-in table. I hope if you don't already have a copy, please get one. We're going to invite you up to speak on the topics that are on the agenda. Please keep your topics limited to that item on the agenda as we address it. If for any reason you have some additional comments that you have not previously provided, you'll be offered some additional time at the end of our proceedings. We weren't able to accurately anticipate how many people would be here today, and the workshop is scheduled to conclude at 4 o'clock. All attendees wish to have some comments provided. We hope to be able to offer you the opportunity to do so, but we will not be able to extend our time past 4 o'clock today. We welcome you to provide any written materials. You can leave them with the staff at the sign-in table. Your written materials will also become a part of the record for this workshop. Participation in this workshop is an addition to and not a substitute for participation in our actual rulemaking proceedings. Comments, both oral and written, received in connection with the workshop are going to be included in our informal rulemaking file. Similarly, the department is not required to respond to the comments that we received today. We're just going to use them as the basis for providing input as we work on developing our regulations. Just to give you an idea of how the rulemaking process works, once we have started drafting our regulations, we would do a public notice of the regulations, which we will also receive a copy of. There would be a 45-day period before we have another hearing, at which time you'd be able to provide both written and oral comments. We then go through a process of reviewing those comments and determining whether we need to do additional amendments to our regulations. After that occurs, we would finalize our package and submit it off to the Office of Administrative Hearings for adoption. The scope of our workshop this morning is limited to receiving comments, statements, and contentions on issues related to autonomous vehicle regulations. If you have other issues you wish considered as regulations, you may participate by petitioning the department under Government Code Section 11347. For this hearing and for the development of these regulations, your other suggestions would not be considered. We have a microphone here located at the bottom of the stage. If you have comments that you wish to give us, please come on forward and speak in the microphone. We're also doing a webcast of this workshop, and we welcome our web viewers as well. If you're viewing on the internet and you would like to provide written comments, you can email your comments to the email address at the bottom of the agenda, which is lregulations, all one word, @dmv.ca.gov. All comments from both those in attendance and those received as a result of the webcast viewers or any interested party must be submitted by 5 p.m. next Friday, which is April 26th. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started on our agenda. I think the first item is a background. I think all of you may be aware that SB 1298 passed in 2012. It enacted Vehicle Code Section 38750, which requires the department to adopt regulations by January 1, 2015, setting forth the requirements for the submission of the evidence of insurance, a surety bond, a certificate of self-insurance, and the submission and approval of an application to operate autonomous vehicles. As enacted, California Vehicle Code Section 38750 also authorizes the department, in consultation with the California Highway Patrol, to adopt regulations necessary to ensure the safe operation of autonomous vehicles on California's public roads, including potential new license requirements and rules related to the registration of autonomous vehicles. To make this a more manageable task for the department, we are planning on breaking our regulatory process down into 2 phases. Our first set of regulations will involve requirements for the testing phase of autonomous vehicles. Our second set of regulations will involve the certification process for the operation of the vehicles outside of the testing phase, and any additional requirements we deem to be necessary to ensure the safe operation of the vehicles. In the very near future, we will probably be conducting another public workshop on that first set of regulations, which will basically involve the insurance requirements, any testing requirements we need to, and standards we feel are necessary for the testing phase of the operation. As I mentioned, we would provide you notice of those regulations, and you will again have the opportunity to participate in the discussions with respect to them. So with that, I'm going to move on to our first workshop topic. As I address these topics, I would like you to please feel free to come up one at a time and provide comments at the microphone. If this is going to work for us, what we really need is the input that you're going to give us today. Because as we get on this process, I like to think that, you know, we're pretty bright people, but we can't think of everything that's related to such an important subject as this. So what you have to provide for us is actually essential to the process as we embark on adopting regulations.